They want the dollar gold market to exist because they get the free ride. The dollar has to do all the dirty work in the gold space, and BRICS get the free ride. This is not the petro yuan. This is not the petro ruble. This is not a gold-backed yuan. This is not a gold standard. This is not the end of the US dollar. It's not the end of the euro. It's not the end of the world. It's not any of those things, but that's what everyone's running around on websites or whatever shouting about. It's none of those things. In fact, quite the opposite. And this is where the Russian mentality comes in. The BRICS want the dollar to be around. They want the dollar gold market to exist because they get the free ride. The dollar has to do all the dirty work in the gold space, and BRICS get the free ride by declaring one brick equal to a weight of gold. Again, weight's the key.
The BRICS summit in Johannesburg 2 weeks ago was attended by leaders and representatives from more than 60 countries. 6 were officially invited to join the bloc: Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. They are set to join the founding members: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And while these countries are vulnerable due to their dependence on the dollar, there is no other game in town. The dollar still dominates global trade and 90% of foreign exchange transactions. Jim Rickards, the author of the national bestseller, Currency Wars: The Making of the Next Global Crisis, clarifies some misconceptions about the role of the BRICS in the global financial system. The BRICS, rather than seeking the downfall of the US dollar, want the dollar to remain strong and for the gold market to thrive. This is because they benefit from the dollar's status as the primary reserve currency, which performs the heavy lifting in the gold market. While the dollar's share of the global currency landscape has declined over the past 2 decades from 66% to 58%, its primary reserve status has not wavered. Rickards emphasizes that the BRICS are free-riding on the existing dollar-based gold system. They don't have to buy or own vast quantities of gold, and their currency isn't redeemable for gold. Instead, they base their currency's value on gold's weight and allow the dollar gold market to go wherever it goes. This strategy enables the BRICS to enjoy the benefits of a gold-backed currency without taking on the complexities and costs of maintaining such a system. We will now bring you clips from Jim Rickards' interview with Wealthian. But before we do, if you want more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more updates. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
The value of the brick is not determined with reference to any other currency. It's determined with reference to gold by weight of gold. Now, and I don't know the weight, they'll pick one, but again, it doesn't matter because it's not even, it's math, it's logic. And by the way, now we're back to Aristotle's transitive law. This is the key. This unlocks the whole thing, because Aristotle said, you know, if A equals B equals C, then A equals C. The B can drop out. It's not even arithmetic. It's logic. It's called the transitive law. I'm certain that Aristotle invented it. If any Greek scholars know an earlier source, let me know. So what the BRICS have done is they have dodged the biggest bullet, the thing that caused Bretton Woods ultimately to fail, the thing that potentially stands in the way of all this. They've defined their currency by weight of gold. Now, a weight of gold has a dollar value, right? So A equals B equals C. 1 brick equals 1, could be an ounce or a kilo, it doesn't matter. Call it an ounce. 1 brick equals 1 ounce of gold equals today, 1970, okay? Well, through the transitive law, drop out the B, and 1 brick equals 1970, $1,970. But that's constant. I mean, that logic works for a moment in time, but it's not fixed, because the price of gold is going to fluctuate daily or minute by minute, right? So what's going to happen is the dollar gold, call it exchange rate, the dollar price of gold. So the LBMA, the COMEX, the London Metals Exchange, JP Morgan unallocated forward contracts, the whole huge gold market in dollars is still going to exist. The BRICS want the dollar to be around. They want the dollar gold market to exist because they get the free ride. The dollar has to do all the dirty work in the gold space, and BRICS get the free ride by declaring 1 brick equal to a weight of gold. Again, weight's the key. they just let the dollar gold market go wherever it goes, and the brick is worth an ounce or whatever, kilo, whatever. And yeah, the dollar equivalent under the transitive law changes, but they're not pegged to the dollar. They're not fighting that fight. So this, I analogize this. It's like you're in your house, in the backyard, you know, your landscaper is like digging trenches and putting in plants and sweating and doing all this work, and you're sitting there with a glass of iced tea enjoying the view. In other words, the bricks get to free ride on the dollar gold system, and they want that system. They don't want it to go away because they get the benefit of a gold value. Now think of what the bricks don't have to do in this scenario. They don't have to buy gold. They don't even have to own gold. They do, but no one in the world has enough gold to back a currency. This currency, the brick, will not be redeemable into gold. Now, maybe there's a dealer somewhere who will take it. That's between you and the dealer. But it's not like you're going to be able to march down to the People's Bank of China with a pile of bricks and say, give me the gold. They're not going to do it. So it's not redeemable. They're not going to make a market. They're not going to maintain a value because they don't have to, because it's by weight. They just get to sit back and piggyback on the dollar gold system and let the dollar do all the dirty work.
Rickards emphasizes the role of the Federal Reserve as the ultimate buyer of treasuries, with an intermediate buyer being the U.S. banking system, which has evolved from the 1950s when large banks had a substantial portion of their balance sheets in treasuries. The U.S. government influences these banks and is likely to buy bonds. This intermediate buyer pool could offer a cushion before the Fed expands its balance sheet, especially during a reset, when buying perceived safe treasuries becomes more attractive than making loans. Furthermore, he mentions the Chinese strategy, where commercial banks in China are selling dollars to support the yuan. China's major state-owned banks were seen busy selling U.S. dollars to buy yuan in both onshore and offshore spot foreign exchange markets this week, people with direct knowledge of the matter said, in an attempt to slow the yuan's depreciation. The yuan has lost about 2.4% against the dollar since this month and 6% since the start of the year.